the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week. And welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Business Story of the Week. I am your host, Joshua. And today's question is: how does mastering the art of communication transform your professional life? But not just your professional life, but also your personal life. And, you know, it, we will talk about communication today, but I believe we are going to go deeper than that because our guest, Sabine Kvenberg, is the host of the acclaimed Become podcast and a best-selling author. She is a distinguished Fredericksburg Entrepreneur of the Year dedicated to enhancing communication prowess of business professionals. A former actress and director in Europe, Sabine relocated to the US, pioneering a performing arts school that she helmed for over 27 years. Equipped with innovative tools and strategies, Sabine helps entrepreneurs and CEOs master their presentation skills and eradicate the public speaking jitters. Sabine, there is going to be a lot that we're going to unravel on there. But first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, and I look forward to our conversation, Joshua. Thanks for having me.
I also look forward. I'm quite excited because I love backgrounds. I love, backstories. And that's how I always start this show is that you have an incredible background, from being an actress in Europe, heading your own performing art school for 27 years, and now becoming a renowned communication expert in the US. First off, can you share to us that real quick, the backstory on the transitions that happened in your life, how any early experiences shaped your current path right now? And Sabine, did you always know you were going to be an actress? What is the origin story?
Well, deep in my heart, I knew it
Mhm,
because from being a little child, I always loved to sing and dance and act, and I was
mm,
always looking at those musical theater movies that was on
uh-huh,
TV.
uh-huh.
But growing up, you kind of forget your passion a little bit. And I
Yes.
listened to the well meant advice of my dad, who said,
Mhm,
Sabina, find a job with benefits and a good salary so you can pay your bills and have something left over to pursue your hobbies, right? By
mhm,
that, he meant the
mhm.
acting and singing. So I did. And I ended up working as a claim adjuster for an insurance company.
Okay.
And as you can only imagine with my background that you know now, that was definitely not my dream job.
Okay.
But the transition was really due to one of my teachers
Mhm,
that
mhm.
I had the pleasure of meeting on my way home from work. It was my former drama and music teacher, Mr. Herbst, and bumped into him and we had a conversation. And then he asked me if I was still active with my singing group and my acting group. And
Right.
the answer was no. And Joshua, he said one thing that literally changed my life.
Okay.
He said, what a shame, Sabine. You are so talented.
Mhm, mhm,
And I thought, yeah, he's
mhm,
right. So
mhm.
he reminded me on that. And
Yes.
that's when I went home that evening,
Mhm,
opened up the yellow pages. And
mhm.
yes, it dates me, I know. But back in those days, we didn't have Google and it was not as easy. So I called an acting school,
Mhm,
scheduled my audition, had
mhm.
no idea how this all worked, but it doesn't matter, right? As you
Yes.
know, if your why is big enough, the how will show up.
There you
And so
go.
I got in, and I never looked back.
I love that. To me, what of course, it's a lovely story to tell, but also, it shows that you can always pursue your dreams, right? It's that your dream will always stay there, your passion will always stay there in there with you. And like you said, sometimes we lose it as we grow older, but it stays with us. And I love that you still pursued it. I love that you still went for it, and you even pioneered. You went on to pioneer a performing arts school that you set up. You helmed for 27 years. Could you talk to us a little bit about that one and how it inspired you, and where did you set this up?
Well, it all started out, with when I started my career as an actress. That was
Hmm.
actually in Germany, because
Yes. Hmm.
I grew up, I was born and grew up in Germany.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
was a stage and TV actress in Germany and Europe, for that matter, because I also played in other countries
Hmm.
for 10 years. And during that time, I met my now husband during the tour of Fiddler on the Roof.
Wow.
He is American.
Hmm.
I'm German, and we met in Switzerland, neutral territory. And so we played together. We were on tour together, but we were just good friends, right? But long story short, we ended up dating after a couple of years, and then we actually uh, traveled the world as
Wow.
directors. We put on, produced, and directed shows on different
Hmm.
vacation spots for
Hmm.
a Swiss company. And even though it was fun, but it also got old, right? And we
Right.
wanted to settle down, and we
Hmm.
decided to now pass on the love for the performing arts to a new generation. And
Right.
that's what we did. And we decided, okay, Germany, United States, Germany, United States. And then we decided the United States. And actually, and sometimes it's important for the
Hmm.
listeners to understand there are other things in life that determines your decision. I
Hmm.
always s- cannot stress enough that decisions are important,
Hmm.
and you
Hmm.
also have to see what makes this decision.
Hmm.
For me, it was a rather sad event that happened. My mother passed away very suddenly, and I was, had a very, very strong bond to her. And
Hmm.
it was for me almost like, okay, now I have nothing there anymore that holds me. I still have family there, so don't get me wrong, but in that moment, that's what I thought. And we discussed it before and said, okay, I just wanted to go now. And so we decided to start in the US, close to where my husband's family lived at that time. That was
Hmm.
south of Washington, D.C.
Hmm.
And that's where I ended up, actually in Fredericksburg, Virginia,
Wow.
where we started our performing arts school. And it was back then a small town,
Hmm.
and there were a couple ballet studios there, but not a performing arts school.
Wow.
So we
Beautiful.
really changed the trajectory and changed the landscape there, because later on, many people modeled what we started.
Wow, Sabine, what a story. I love stories like that. And how you say that it went on to shape the community surrounding that. I mean, performing arts. My goodness, like what a better way to transform communities and inspire people around you, and because it's an expression, right? It's passion right there, and you've
Mhm.
shared that love, and you've shared these experiences of yours, and you brought it with you to the US, to America, and you've taken on an active role in coaching and mentoring. Um,
Mhm.
I now understand that you have also taken on a career as a public speaking, a communication specialist for for professionals. Many entrepreneurs would struggle with public speaking. Business owners, executives, even CEOs, like people who's been at the top of their game, they all struggle with public speaking. And but I understand it's not just public speaking that you you tackle. It's communication in general. Could you talk to us a little bit about how this career started and what got you into this path, coming from performing arts to communication specialist? What happened in between?
Yeah. Well, that's a very, very good question.
Hmm.
You see, when I started my school, I just wanted to teach acting, dance,
Hmm.
music, singing.
Hmm.
But I learned very early on that I taught much more than just this acting skills. I
Hmm.
taught life lessons. I taught the right mindset
Hmm.
and the changes, the positive changes that I observed, what
Hmm.
happened with the children and the teenagers. It was just amazing. I have so many stories that I can tell just from that part of it, seeing
Hmm.
a very shy girl, transform to speak up in
Hmm.
front of their classes. That is
Hmm.
fantastic. And
Wow.
then, of course, also going out even further, helping aspiring talent starting
Yes.
their career in the entertainment industry.
Wow.
And that's when the coaching really started to get more serious.
Interesting.
I realized, what is the difference between some who make it and
Hmm.
some who not?
Hmm.
They're equally talented, perhaps.
Hmm.
And that's when I realized that 20% is talent, 80% is your attitude, your mindset, your
Hmm.
goal setting, and all of
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
And that's when I started uh, writing a workbook for my actors, for my talent, because
Okay.
I got them in front of agents and casting directors.
Okay.
So
Okay.
with that, that turned into my first book, Secrets on How to Succeed in Showbiz. And the very first
Okay.
part
Okay.
was all about mindset and the attitude and
Oh.
goal setting and so forth.
Mhm.
So that really got the whole thing started.
Mhm.
And then I started speaking,
Mhm.
obviously being a performer and also director, because I directed shows, I produced shows for
Mhm.
our students every
Mhm.
year. I directed two shows. And then I also realized how we communicate. It's not just verbally, it's how we stand, how
Mhm.
we present ourselves. And a lot of the acting exercises I started doing with also clients who just wanted to learn how to be more confident and how to speak professionally.
Mhm.
So that's, I think, how it all began and how I started intertwining the art form of acting, performing, even dance, or music. I incorporate some music into my coaching program because you
Wow.
see, when music evokes emotions.
Mhm. Mhm.
Emotion gets you into motion, gets you into
Mhm.
taking action.
Yes.
So all those things are so tightly connected. How
Mhm.
we communicate. We
Mhm.
communicate through your words, through your body language, through
Mhm.
your voice, and even music.
Mhm. Wow. First off, Sabine, I think I am quite captivated in how you put that together because you started off with uh, kind of like a groundwork or a foundation when it comes to the arts first, right? And then you started seeing what these are doing to the kids and the young people, the youth that you are mentoring and you're coaching, and seeing how this is affecting their lives and how it is improving their lives. And you took what you know about the performing arts and you applied it in communication, which I feel it elevates the coaching aspect of it. Because I've spoken with a lot of communication experts as well, and I was trained with, at least here from where I am, I had communication coaches, public speaking coaches. My late mother was a great communicator as well, and it just came naturally for her. but this is the first time I've actually heard of the concept of, like including the concepts of music, the concept of art. And I think it feels lovely. To me, it feels captivating already the way you talk about it, because it just adds a layer of intimacy, is what I feel. It feels more genuine. It feels like wow, it feels like a warm blanket, because communication, if that isn't what communication is about, right? Making people comfortable, making people feel like they're welcome. And the way you talk about it when it comes to the way you apply your experiences in performing arts, I think elevates it to that next level. Can you tell to us a little bit about any, how you call this, any success stories? I love stories. Like, we need to talk a little bit about that. Any success stories, any transformative, stories and backgrounds that you've seen that transformed anyone that you coach, especially the youth that you've coached in your schools, as and coaching them in their communication. Any success stories professionally as well that stand out for you?
Well, there are quite a few, but um, let me go back to a young woman. She was a
Mhm,
teenager at that time,
mhm,
and she took dance lessons and acting lessons.
mm,
And this was our first year actually, and we did a production about Disney. And back then it was Aladdin was big, right? So,
mm,
and she was the right type, but didn't hear her sing. And so I said, "Hey, I would like to give you like a lesson in singing because I think you would be good for the role of Jasmine." She said, "Oh, I cannot sing. I cannot sing." And I said, "Well, let me be the judge, right?"
okay.
So I had a lesson with her, and she
Oh,
had a lovely voice, a small voice, but
okay.
I knew I could train her.
Okay. Okay.
And then auditioned for a performing arts school in Miami, Florida. And she asked me to go with her. So I was there, supported her. She got
Mm,
in, she got a scholarship. She
mm,
finished cum laude.
mm,
And then she started working in New York, went on tour. I mean, she did musicals, and she even came back to our hometown after she graduated from her school. And we put together in our space, we have a black box theater, a one woman show, or four women's were that, okay, what women think. And she was there, she shined. Now, she did a lot of other things. Now,
mm,
fast forward even more, after she was kind of sort of done with being an actress,
mm.
she got her master's degree in teaching and in performing arts.
Yes.
Now she helms
Oh,
a she is the leading um, instructor at a performing arts school. She
wow.
also works with Juilliard, and I mean, she is now touching so many children
My goodness.
lives.
Wow.
And I'm
Wow.
finishing up with 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it was just before COVID. She
Mm-hmm.
invited my husband and I to a show that she produced with her students, A
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast. It was the
Mm-hmm.
last show. And
Mm-hmm.
then she got everybody together on stage and she
Oh.
said, and I want to give a special thank you to my coaches, instructors, my
Mm,
mentors. I wouldn't be here without them,
mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't be able to teach you. I mean, that was, I mean, tears
Of
were
course.
coming down my
Of
cheeks
course.
because you see the impact performing
Mm-hmm.
arts had, the impact that coaching and mentoring
Mm-hmm.
had, the ripple
Mm-hmm.
effect. And that was one of my most heartwarming stories. There are many
Mm-hmm.
others, but
Of
that
course.
was definitely one of the highlights.
I mean, I feel the emotions from here. I feel the emotions from across the world. The way you tell that story, it must have truly, I mean, it must have truly warmed your heart. Really, it's transformative. The power of communication can have in our lives. But more than that, that's exactly what I mean. It's like you add a layer of intimacy to when you put your experience with the performing arts into it, because I think it just blows it up. It makes it blossom into this really passionate way of transforming lives. I love it, Sabine. And I love these stories, of course. We love stories. That's literally the second name of the show, is stories. And I understand that you just have a book. It just came out. It's just titled Become Empowered. It is the hottest new release on Amazon right now, and it features stories of resilience and transformation. And so I want you to talk to us about this. And can you tell us about what inspired you to write this anthology, and how you believe these stories can impact and empower the readers?
Mm. Yeah. So when I finally sold my performing arts school, because I was already speaking and working with clients in entrepreneurship, right? But I also was inspired to start a podcast. So 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, I started my podcast called Become.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise, I interview individuals who share their story of overcoming challenging situations and how they got through it so people can learn from it. But I got a lot
Right.
of interest, and I thought, what is another way I can share stories?
Mm-hmm.
And through people that I interviewed, the stories that I heard, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, those stories need to be shared.
Yes, you do.
So I ended up with, I do share my own story in the book,
Mm-hmm.
but I also ended up with 12 other women who are contributing authors who shared their story. But
Wow.
now here is the interesting part, and two things I wanted to share with you about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my background as performer, as director in this case, I
Mm-hmm.
know when you produce a film or a production on stage, there is the conflict, but you also have scenes that are very picturesque. And
Yes.
so I coached the authors of how they can make their story come alive.
Right. Wow.
And that, so I helped them with that, and I helped them with the editing part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And these stories that came together, I tell you, when I read them, it was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
But here is another thing. Yes, people who read the stories, and so many great reviews we got on Amazon already, they are transformed, they are inspired. But
Mm-hmm.
here's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even writing the story, one, more than one, specifically the one author came to me. She said, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of the book, because
Mm-hmm.
just by writing the story, I could heal something that was so ingrained in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was starting to give forgiveness to myself, but
Mm-hmm.
also to the other actors or person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But here's another thing, Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
She said that one person, her sister in law, came back to her and said, oh my God, I had no idea. And they made
Oh,
up. I mean, how
wow.
much better can it
Wow.
be? This is how you
Wow.
communicate, through
That's it.
stories.
That's it. Mhm. Sabine, wow. I mean, that's it. The love for stories truly shines in there, and I love stories. And that story that you just told is what? How much better can you expect? It's just there. It's just to connect us, to reconnect us, to allow us to share that story. Could you show us the book right now? Do you have it there?
Yes,
There you go.
I do. This is
Hmm.
it. And when I found this woman, I was
Hmm.
I love creation, right? So I was
Hmm.
part of creating this cover. One of the
Hmm.
things that I love is that light, that
Yes.
that openness, that freedom that comes, and
Hmm.
of course the butterfly in my podcast. That's
Hmm.
very instrumental.
Hmm.
It symbolizes the metamorphosis that we all go through. We all go through,
Hmm.
and then that freedom that it allows us to be from that being still, the
Hmm.
metamorphosis process. We all have those times, but then there will be time where we feel that freedom and become that butterfly.
Yes.
because and that's the
Yes.
premise of my podcast. We have to become the
Mhm.
person we are meant to be,
I
to
love
live
that.
the life we are destined to live.
I love that. Sabine, I'm already happy that you invited me to be on that show. I'd love to be on your podcast. It's me. I mean, it's lovely. It's true because it's we all want the best for people. We all just want them to become who are they are destined to be, and it's true because when it comes to sometimes like it kind of goes back to what you said. Sometimes we lose a bit of ourselves. We lose our dreams as we grow older, and but sometimes it just takes stories. It takes stories to transform our lives, to transform the path that we are taking on. And that's why it's very important to tell these stories. You not only do a disservice to yourself by not telling your stories, but also to others who might have been inspired by hearing your stories. And I think that's why it's important to put these together. And I love that you wrote this book for others and for other readers to be impacted and empowered as well. Sabine, you are not a stranger to putting together communities, to gathering communities and building them together. And I understand that one of your endeavors right now is that uh, you will also organizing a women's retreat. This is something that is happening sometime soon, and I'd love for you to be able to talk to us about that. What is this going? What is this retreat like, and when is it going to be? What's going to be taking place, and when is it going to happen?
Yeah, sure. So I work mainly with women. I do
Hmm.
also work with men, so don't be,
Hmm.
I don't want to exclude them. But um, obviously, this book is real life stories of women's transformation,
Hmm.
and I know from my personal experience
Hmm.
that masterminds are crucial to grow your
Yes.
business and your personal life. But
Yes.
I also know how important it is to take time out. You have to
Mm.
just step back and renew yourself, because if you're
Mhm.
only doing, you burn yourself out and
Mhm.
you are not as good to
Mm.
serve others. So, and I wanted to put this together. I wanted to
Mm.
help women connect with each other
Right.
during a
Beautiful.
retreat. And I have done that in the past with my school, and it was always beautiful. So this
Wow.
is actually a cruise. We go on a cruise. And the reason why I chose the cruise was that you really are not
What?
in your environment, you are at
Wow.
a totally different
Okay.
environment. We have different stops at paradise, literally. It's
Of
a
course.
event, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
during that time you can have your private times when you do your excursions. But on the when we're on the ship, we meet in the morning, so we offer a morning yoga and meditation to set your day up right.
Hmm.
And then we also have training. I will do training on communication and
Uh-huh.
how to use stories in your business, because
Mm-hmm.
the landscape is changing. Yes, social
Mm-hmm.
media is still there, but
Mm-hmm.
people want to know people, want to connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
So I teach that. And then we also have that mastermind. It will be a small group of people, and it's by
Hmm.
application only, because I want to make
Wow.
sure that the right women are
Hmm.
getting together.
Of course.
And so we want to have that also as a mastermind. We start out, that event takes place in November, but we
Hmm.
start out, 4 months before, to already connect
Hmm.
together, to get to know each other, mastermind, and then also afterwards. And I know this can be a life changing, transforming, and business changing endeavor
Hmm.
for the women involved. So I'm
Can you
very
imagine?
excited about that, as you can probably tell.
I cannot imagine how much more exciting it could be for. I mean, you're going to cruise, you're going to paradise, but at the same time, you're going to be with your sisters, you're going to be together, you guys are going to be growing together and learning about each other. It does sound exciting. I love that. I wish I could be on the cruise as well.
Oh, well, who knows? We're gonna this is going to be the first one, and
Wow.
all kind of started to come together because
Wow.
through the book and the women that are involved, some of
Wow.
them are going onto the cruise. However, with that said,
Mhm.
who knows? Maybe
Who
I
knows?
put together a special one
Mhm. Mhm.
for
For everyone
everybody,
else,
for everyone else.
where's the cruise going to be? Where would be the path be the route?
So it's going to be in the Caribbean. So
Oh
there will be Caribbean, yeah, there will be a private island.
beautiful.
I think Belize, Mexico, and
Wow.
Honduras, I think. So
Oh my
if I
goodness.
get it right from my memory.
All right, I mean that is really really exciting. Sabine, there is a lot on there that you just shared to us, but I also am happy that you got to share to us something that you're quite excited with that is coming up in the future as well. Sabine, you've been helping a lot of people, a lot from all walks of life. From leaders to youth in performing arts. You've helped them touch into their passion. You've helped them become better communicators. With not really a story, but what has been the most rewarding part of this journey so far, and one that you'll take with you for the rest of your life, and a bit of wisdom that you would love to leave behind with us today.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's all starting out
Hmm.
by recognizing
Hmm.
the gift that your creator gave you
Wow.
and then use that gift.
Wow.
And I obviously, throughout my life, as you grow older, you grow wiser. There
Hmm.
are more that came up to the surface.
Hmm.
Um, but I know the performing arts was a gateway.
Hmm. Hmm.
But with that gateway, there is a spiritual um, factor as well that
Hmm.
I combined,
Hmm.
because I truly believe we have that higher self within us, and
Yes.
when we recognize who we really are
Hmm.
as human being, as people,
Hmm.
and feel that unity, we cannot do anything else but being kind to each other.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a much more complex topic,
Hmm.
um, and I don't want to go too deep into it.
Hmm.
But what I take away with me, and I hope I can leave behind,
Hmm.
is the things that I wrote.
Hmm.
I have, for example, music. I am a
Yes.
singer songwriter as well.
Hmm.
And the music and the lyrics I received, I
Hmm.
literally, I am a channel.
Hmm.
And it touched so many people's hearts. And again,
Hmm.
coming back of what we talked at the beginning, how
Hmm.
important music is.
Hmm.
And when you combine all of these things that I was able to accomplish and able to leave behind,
Hmm.
and when I stay in front of my creator, I wanted to say, I did what you sent me to do,
Oh,
and I hope I
beautiful.
didn't disappoint you.
Oh, you are far from disappointing, Sabine, right now. Just the way you're telling those stories, I'm sure you've impacted a lot of lives, and that is a gift that is truly, I mean, gifts are meant to be shared, and you have shared that with a lot of lives and a lot of people today, and throughout your life as well. Sabine, I am honored. I am absolutely, just in love, with who you are, with what you've shared, and all your stories. And I'm just very glad I met you, and I'm truly, truly happy to have you on the show today. Thank you for coming on.
You're so very welcome. Thank you for having me, and I am honored to be here. And I just wanted to leave people with one thing. If
Please.
yes, if you feel that anything that I shared today touched you in a way that you feel you want to connect with me,
Mhm.
I'm always open. That's what I'm here
Yes.
for.
Mhm.
So just go to talktosabine.com and
Yes.
schedule a
Mhm.
time. And I'm sure
Mhm.
you will put all the other information, how to reach me into the show notes. But I just want to make sure if people are driving and they say, what is it? I really do, because I know how
Mhm.
easy it is, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, right?
Yeah.
So talktosabine.com. I'm
Okay.
there for you.
Right, but of course, to recap that a little bit, the website is sabinekvenberg.com. Spelling is KVENBERG.com. Sabine is SABINE. SabineKvenberg.com. We'll put this all up, but also you are also on Instagram, Sabine. So I'd
Yeah.
love to invite everyone to follow her on there. I will definitely give you a follow. I believe we are also connected on LinkedIn, so we'll get on there together. I mean, Sabine, just everything that you've shared today, I'm truly happy for you being on here, and let's keep in touch.
We certainly will.
We
You will be on
certainly.
my podcast next.
Yes, fantastic. Of course, and I would love nothing more to all our audience and listeners out there. I hope you fell in love just the same way as I did with all these stories and the wisdom and insight that Sabine has given us today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.